What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, 20% more nasally than usual. Sorry guys, I've been fighting a cold for the last 4 days and I'm trying my best. But join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including The Rock confirms night 1 of Wrestlemania 40, did WWE tease The Rock vs Triple H, more McMahon allegations, AEW talent frustrated over Tony Khan's denial, Rey Mysterio returning soon, prayers out to a former WCW star, does Sammy Guevara have legitimate heat, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia Shorts. Our first story looks at The Rock confirming night 1 of Wrestlemania 40. Atop of today's news is a report outlining the timeline for The Rock's heel turn and why the WWE decided to change The Rock vs Roman Reigns at Wrestlemania 40 to Cody Rhodes vs Roman Reigns. Dave Meltzer is reporting in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter that The Rock called for his character to go heel. This happened after the negative reaction to Cody handing his Wrestlemania 40 spot to The Rock. According to Meltzer, The Rock didn't want to be booed as a babyface, instead changing gears with the storyline's direction. Very quickly, Johnson changed his pitch and wanted to go heel, and WWE just as quickly put into motion pushing the publicity that had been started in subtle ways, such as Logan Paul endorsing it. It was clearly an angle WWE was going with by the next day. The open of Raw 2 days later, where the announcers openly talked about Rhodes finishing the story, cameras immediately focused on the Rhodes sign, showing that to be the case. According to Meltzer, there are still details that haven't come out concerning the change of plans. There is said to be far more behind the scenes that hasn't come out, but given the timing, can't be talked about now. But Johnson over the weekend said it was best to be out of the Reigns match, putting Cody in, which by this point everyone conceded by then. It was then Johnson who pitched the heel turn, and he did pitch the idea for the Reigns and Rock vs Rhodes and Rollins match for night 1, so that was his idea if that is how it turns out. The WWE deserves credit for taking a bad situation, its decision to book The Rock vs Roman rather than Cody vs Roman, and changing things up to a spectacular storyline. The WWE Universe is now invested in seeing things play out, not only between Cody and The Rock, but as we'll see next, between The Rock and Triple H. So did the WWE tease Rock vs Triple H? Another interesting segment occurred after the press conference that led to speculation about The Rock vs Triple H match. Dave Meltzer commented on this and why some fans thought it might be a setup for The Rock vs Hunter. At the Mania press conference on 8th February in Las Vegas, Levesque talked about guys going into business for themselves, with the idea The Rock was going against a planned script. Later, they filmed a segment which didn't air on television, but it was all over social media, where Levesque and The Rock went nose to nose and actually challenged each other for a match at Mania. Given Levesque's heart issues, such a match would seem to be impossible, and virtually everyone believed that to be the case. Now we're unsure as to what segment that was posted on social media made it clear that these two were going to have a match. Is Meltzer getting confused by the 2014 showdown between The Rock and Triple H? To my knowledge, this segment doesn't even exist. And even so, the match can't even happen unless Triple H has a medical miracle. Meltzer observed the angle was designed to build the underlying story of a tug-of-war between TKO Holdings board member The Rock and WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H. The fact it was never put on television says it was not something they wanted to hammer home as a storyline, and more was a way to make people think that the two were getting along, with the idea the aspect of the angle was real. Whatever the case, the storyline is working to perfection, and fans will be tuning into tonight's SmackDown to see what The Rock and Roman Reigns have to say about the fallout from the press conference. Next up, more McMahon allegations. Did Vince McMahon fire a female wrestler for turning down his advances? Or former WWE superstar Rene Dupree had this to say during an episode of his Cafe de Rene podcast. You remember when we had Charlie Haas on here and he told a story about how Johnny Ace Laurinaitis fired him and Jackie the day they got back from their honeymoon? Well, let's just say Vince also made a pass at Jackie, which she declined. And you see what happened once her and Charlie got married. If you listen to this story, it seems like if you don't put Vince over and you don't boost his ego, he gets mad at you and takes it out on your career. Janelle Grant's lawsuit against Vince McMahon could open a Pandora's box of other allegations. The recent release of a statement made by former WWE superstar Ashley Mazzaro shortly before her 2019 passing alleged that McMahon sexually preyed on female wrestlers and that McMahon sabotaged her career after she rejected his advances. Former ECW valet Francine, who also worked in WWE during the company's revival of ECW, discussed her experiences in the WWE. This week's Observer summarized some of her comments. In talking about her time in WWE, she said that McMahon never did anything unprofessional with her and did continually question Janelle Grant for not leaving the situation she was in. She said that at one point when she was frustrated by a lack of push, somebody, and she'd never mentioned the name, told her to put oil on her breasts and wear a low-cut top, go into McMahon's office and bend over in front of him as advice. She said she never did it. With McMahon reportedly being investigated by the authorities and attorneys ready to represent anyone who has a claim against McMahon, this story is likely just the beginning. Next up, AEW talent frustrated over Tony Khan's denial. AEW president Tony Khan has been talking up the promotion's success in revenues and ratings, but is Khan fooling himself? Dave Meltzer addressed the situation in the latest Observer, noting at least some talent see things differently. There's also frustration from a lot of circles since talent comes to the shows and sees the smaller crowd since the start of the year. Khan always paints a positive picture about the company being stronger due to the increased revenues or bringing up ratings. And there's a feeling that popularity is declining overall and changes have to be made to turn it around, and he's acting like everything is fine. Hopefully AEW can negotiate a better rights deal, and once that is done, focus on addressing the promotion's problems, including a weak women's division, too much talent and poor ticket sales. Next up, when does Drew's WWE deal end? When is Drew McIntyre's current WWE deal expiring? While it's known that the Scottish Warrior's current deal ends sometime this year, there have been conflicting reports about just when. Some reports have stated that it could be gone before WrestleMania, but not according to Fightful Select, which is reporting Fightful Select has confirmed that McIntyre's deal now extends past WrestleMania, and that some injury and inactivity time was added to the deal in order to get it there. As we noted yesterday, it's believed that both Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre have yet to sign a new deal with the WWE. Whether they sign a new deal, the WWE can rest assured that both will be available for the Showcase of the Immortals. However, in Seth's case, this will depend on whether he can work through his current MCL and meniscus tear. Next up, Tommy Dreamer running TNA Creative. There's more news emerging on TNA Wrestling following the shocking departure of longtime president Scott D'Amore. Meltzer is reporting that Tommy Dreamer is now the head of creative in TNA. Anthem, TNA Wrestling's parent company, released D'Amore, leading to major backstage heat on management. Many TNA wrestlers are upset with D'Amore's ouster, and at one point there were rumors that wrestlers were told they could ask for their release. Jeff Jarrett, who was involved with the promotion for many years, including its formation, recently commented on the situation. I know him, Anthony Sassone, the person taking D'Amore's spot. I worked with him back then, and I think he will tell you he is not a wrestling guy by any stretch of the imagination. He can be an executive, and he is, but I'm thinking at the core, who is the wrestling guy? At the end of the day, that is an enormous component of who is steering the ship creatively. Hopefully Dreamer can handle the creative end, while Sassone handles the business end of things. As fans have seen with Nick Khan, a strong executive can help grow business while someone else handles the creative end of things. Next up, Rey Mysterio returning soon. There's good news for Rey Mysterio fans, as Meltzer is reporting Rey Mysterio's return now looks to be in a few weeks. He was hoping for late January, but is pretty close to being ready to return. Rey's return couldn't come at a better time with WrestleMania 40 fast approaching. It'll be interesting to see if the WWE goes with the rumored Dominic vs Rey rematch at WrestleMania, or continues the Master of the 619's feud with Santos Escobar. Next up, prayers out to former WCW star. A football legend and former Four Horsemen member Steve Mongo McMichael has been reportedly hospitalized. Mongo, has been courageously battling ALS, was recently taken to hospital. According to Wrestling News, a former NFL star Walter Payton's son Jared wrote on social media that McMichael is headed to the emergency room with suspected pneumonia. He tweeted, "We're asking for prayers for Steve McMichael. He's going to the emergency room now with suspected pneumonia. We'll inform you as we have more updates. Thank you, the McMichael family, Team Mongo." Longtime fans will remember Steve McMichael provided color commentary on Nitro before becoming a member of the Four Horsemen. Mongo played for the Chicago Bears, including winning a Super Bowl, is now being inducted into this year's class of the NFL Hall of Fame. We send our thoughts and prayers to Mongo and his friends, family, and fans. Next up, legit heat on Sammy Guevara? Is there a legit heat between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara? Well, fans asking this after seeing a video of Matt flipping off Guevara after Sammy's match against Jeff Hardy. As noted yesterday, Jeff was apparently knocked out and had his nose broken after Sammy hit a shooting star press on him. It's believed Sammy's knee may have struck Jeff's face, resulting in the injury. It's difficult to tell if this was a work or legitimate, as both Jeff and Matt seem to be turning heel. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, a former WWE announcer, Kevin Patrick, lands a lucrative new job. And last but not least, Kevin Egan, aka former WWE announcer Kevin Patrick, has landed on his feet following his release from WWE. Major League Soccer recently announced that Egan will be joining its English studio show MLS 360. MLS 360 in English will be led by new host Kevin Egan, who previously served as game play-by-play announcer. Congrats to Kevin on his latest success. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.